All right, guys. Well, we're going to jump into that. John, thank you again. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Thank you so much for bringing us
Oh,
the
you're
event.
good.
We appreciate
Yeah.
it. Keep it up, buddy. I'm very proud of you on the 75 hard. Super impressed.
Thank you. Yeah. Keep it on it.
You got this. All right, guys. Well, it's time for the Hardin County housing market update. Let me kind of share with you what's been happening in our local real estate market this past week. So, the dates that we're going to be sharing information from are February 3rd through February 9th. All of the information I bring to you is from the Heart of Kentucky MLS. So, as you know, I'm Rachel Brantingham, and I'm here with your weekly housing market update for Elizabethtown and Hardin County. Okay. So, quick snapshots that we saw. So, over the last week, 15 new listings came on the market, which is still to me an impressive number, especially with the conditions that we've been working in over the last couple of weeks. We saw 17 homes go under contract. I'm so impressed with our local agents and the aggressiveness of these buyers getting out in these conditions. I worked an open house and we saw several people come through, and I was just every single person that came through, I was like, thank you for coming out. I know the conditions are less than ideal. So, and 12 families moved into their new homes. Contracts are still outpacing new listings. It's very important, which tells us that buyer demand is continuing even as we move through the tail end of the winter. Typically, we don't really start to see the market speed up until a little bit later in the winter and early into the spring. But 17 homes going under contract and only 15 new listings, we're really encouraged by that speed. Okay. Average days on market over the last 30 days is 96. That's gone up just slightly, but I really think that that's due to the ice and snow. I think that we are still within the normal range that is typical for this time of year. We're not seeing any big changes or shifts in that. There are currently 354 active homes on the market, and we've seen 63 homes sell in the last 30 days. That puts us back at more of that average months of inventory. So 5.6 is where we are at. We were at 4.2. We jumped to about a 6.8, and now we're coming back to that 5.6. Once again, I think that's relative to the weather and the conditions that agents and sellers and buyers have been competing against. So I expect that to trend back down, and we'll probably sit somewhere between the 4 and 5 range. When it comes to pricing, excuse me, over the last 30 days, the average list price was $348,556, while the average sold price came in at $294,340. Something I was talking to my team about, we have buyers who are saying, hey, we kind of want to wait until later in the year to see what interest rates are going to do, and that as we expect them to continue to trend down. And that number right there is something that I want to point out. If you are considering buying and you're trying to determine when the right moment is in the market, if I was a buyer or had a loved one that was considering purchasing, this is a pretty great moment. And for many reasons, obviously, it has to be about your specific goals and your motivation. But homes that have sat throughout the holiday season and the cold winter months, those sellers are being more aggressive about their sale price. And what that means for you as a buyer is you can take advantage of those lower sale prices while interest rates are sitting right at about a 5.99, 5.85 on conventional, 5.65 on VA, FHA, USDA. Of course, all of that varies based on your specific credit information, but you can kind of take advantage of what is almost a $50,000 reduction in what homes are actually closing at. And so if I were a buyer considering purchasing over the next couple months, I would definitely look into purchasing at this point. As I mentioned, interest rates are kind of holding steady. We haven't seen any big change in those. While no one has a crystal ball, we do expect interest rates to continue trending downward over time. One reason we're watching this closely is because the Fed chair is going to be replaced in May, and President Trump is expected to nominate Kevin Warsh. He is a former Federal Reserve governor and historically advocates for lower interest rates and a smaller balance sheet at the net. So we expect, obviously, there's no crystal ball and we don't know the direct outcome. But once again, if those rates were to continue dropping, I do expect to see house prices continue to go up and an increase in the price that you're going to see listings hitting the market as more buyers are able to purchase. Another big update I want to share with you guys is that first time home buyer funds are officially available. So if you're a first time home buyer planning to purchase in the next couple months, there is a great government grant that is offered to you as an incentive to purchase your first home. There's a lot of things to know and understand about that grant, but basically once the funds are gone, they're gone. So you want to go ahead and get with your local agent and have them start showing you homes. Of course, you need to work with a lender that has that as an option. A credit union is a great option. South Central Bank, those guys have those funds at their availability, and they can, if you come in with a contract that's been accepted, they can support you in going through that process and actually taking advantage of that government grant. We are continuing to see homes that sat for a little bit go pending. We're super excited to continue to see that momentum despite the ice and snow. So I do think we'll continue to see that pick up in the heat of the spring market. I'm already seeing signs of it, and it's 60 degrees, guys. We're headed there quickly. One last thing is, of course, if your home has been sitting in the market and you haven't seen, the kind of showings and impact that you were hoping to see, one alternative is to try another route, which is kind of going the rental option. We've had great success with this with our clients. We're able to put it up for rent and for sale at the exact same time and see which one works out. We have a lot of military members that are moving to the area, and most of them, because they don't know exactly how long they're going to be here, are looking for a nicer rental. So if your home has been sitting and you haven't had success in getting it under contract, we'd love to talk to you about what that would look like for your specific situation. Overall, the market is heating up. Buyers and sellers are both taking advantage of this moment. Buyers are acting on value, and sellers are adjusting pricing and strategy. Momentum is building as we head closer to spring, and that's exactly what we like to see. As always, if you want a hyper local breakdown for your neighborhood, price point, or investment goals, I'm happy to help. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is your weekly housing market, and we'll see you again next week for another market update. All right, guys, we are